General Hospital will reveal exciting developments on Friday, January 3, 2025. First, Charlotte, after months of living with Valentine and feeling the safety he provided, initially didn't want to be separated from her father. Valentine's love and protection made her feel she could face anything, even the potential dangers in his tumultuous life. But then, a crisis struck like a storm, sweeping everything away. On what seemed like a peaceful evening, Charlotte and Valentine were preparing to head to a safer location after Valentine had received threats from an unknown enemy. Suddenly, from the darkness, a bullet from a sniper rifle pierced through the window, breaking the moment of silence. Valentine quickly pushed Charlotte down and dodged the fatal shot, but the ensuing chaos was something Charlotte had never experienced. Screams filled the air, Valentine's bodyguards rushed to respond, and the entire area turned into a small battlefield with gunfire ringing out. Though Charlotte was shielded safely, she witnessed Valentine falling after a shot hit his shoulder. His face contorted in pain, but his eyes remained resolute as he ordered his team to protect Charlotte. The girl was so terrified that she couldn't speak, only gripping her protector's hand tightly as she was led away to safety. In that moment, the strength Valentine had taught her vanished, replaced by an overwhelming fear and a stark realization that living by his side would always involve danger. After being taken to safety, Charlotte sat in silence, tears streaming down her face. She thought of Lulu and the warm moments she had once shared with her mother. Suddenly, the desire to stay with Valentine seemed unimportant. Charlotte realized that no matter how much she loved her father, his life was always a cycle of violence that she could not endure. Witnessing Valentine's assassination attempt had etched into her a fear of loss and helplessness. Deciding to return to Port Charles with Lulu was not easy for Charlotte, but she knew it was the right choice. It wasn't just about finding peace, but also protecting herself from the constant dangers surrounding her father. Valentine, once recovered, didn't oppose Charlotte's decision. Though his heart ached to be apart from his daughter, he understood that for Charlotte to have a safe future, this was necessary. The day Charlotte left, her eyes were filled with turmoil but also determination. Lulu opened her arms to welcome her daughter back, hoping that Port Charles would be a place where Charlotte could heal her wounds. Valentine, watching from afar, silently prayed that one day he could meet Charlotte again under better circumstances, when the storm had passed. Second, Sasha felt her thoughts growing heavier, weighing her down to the point of suffocation. Her decision to leave Port Charles was not made lightly, but was the result of many sleepless nights and emotions she could share with no one. The baby in her womb, a secret she held tightly, was at the center of all her contemplation. Sasha knew that this would not only affect her life but also the future of the child. She considered every reason for her decision. Everything had become more complicated since the truth about the child came out. Michael was the father, but Sasha didn't want this to disrupt his life, which was already full of responsibilities and challenges. Amid complicated relationships and unresolved conflicts, she understood that her presence would only add to the tension. Memories of past hurts, losses, and feelings of guilt made Sasha constantly question whether she could provide a peaceful life for the child. Keeping the father's identity a secret was not just about protecting herself, but also about shielding her unborn child from unnecessary pressure. Sasha believed that leaving Port Charles was the only way for her to start over, away from prying eyes and questions she couldn't answer. Though she didn't say it out loud, Sasha understood the true reason behind this decision. It wasn't out of selfishness or weakness, but rather a desire to protect the child from the storms she had faced. For her, leaving was not running away, but an opportunity to build a new future, where she could mother the way she wanted without being tied to the past. Sasha kept the secret in her heart, determined to carry it far away to a place where she could start anew. Third, Sonny grew more contemplative as signs of his health issues made him realize that time was no longer on his side. The recent heart pains were not just warnings from his body but also a wake-up call, forcing him to confront difficult decisions he had long avoided. As the pillar of the Corinthos family, Sonny had always borne heavy responsibilities, but now, the thought of retirement began to seem like a possibility he could no longer ignore. He reflected on the future of his family, not just as a father but as the leader of an empire. The Corinthos family business could not be left behind, for it was not only the family's livelihood but also the thing that kept stability in the chaotic world of Port Charles. However, in choosing a successor, Sonny knew that it couldn't be a hasty decision or one made emotionally. Michael, despite his potential and ambition, was still too young to carry this immense responsibility. Moreover, Sonny realized that Michael had chosen a different path, one that was less entangled in the darkness their family always faced. Sonny didn't blame Michael for this, but he knew that he was not the right choice at this time. Considering those around him, Sonny realized that finding someone trustworthy was not easy. The years in the business had taught him that loyalty had its value, but loyalty could easily be tested by power and ambition. Sonny needed someone who not only had the ability to manage but also an understanding of the unwritten rules and wisdom to maintain balance in the fragile world of crime. Dante crossed Sonny's mind like a fleeting hope, but he quickly dismissed that idea. As a police officer, Dante had chosen to stand on the opposite side of Sonny's world. Bringing Dante into the role of successor would not only conflict with his values but could also strain their already complicated father-son relationship. In these moments of reflection, Sonny couldn't help but remember Jason, his loyal ally and irreplaceable friend. If Jason were still here, Sonny knew that choosing a successor would not be as much of a headache as it was now. But the reality was that Jason was gone, and Sonny had to face the large void he had left. As thoughts continued to consume him, Sonny realized that time was not on his side. He needed to make a decision, not just for himself but for the survival of the Corinthos family. Who would take on this responsibility? Could he find someone capable and trustworthy enough to handle the empire? These questions plagued him, with no clear answers, but he knew he couldn't delay much longer. Fourth, Sonny considered every possibility in choosing a successor to ensure the stability of the empire he had built. In this moment, Jason emerged as the perfect candidate. Jason had always been the one Sonny trusted completely, someone who not only understood how the business worked but was also willing to face the toughest challenges to protect the Corinthos family. Sonny knew that if Jason agreed, the transfer of power would be easier, and Michael would also have a reliable mentor. Sonny decided to make the offer, not just as a responsibility but also as a way to express his trust and gratitude toward Jason. He proposed that Jason would take a central role in running the business, acting as a bridge to help Michael learn and grow, eventually inheriting the responsibility in the future. This would not only allow Sonny to retire with peace of mind but also ensure the family's stability in the years to come. However, Jason quietly declined. He didn't need time to think, as this decision had been made long ago. With his usual calm demeanor, Jason explained that he was willing to support Sonny and Michael in any situation, no matter how dangerous or complex the business was. But taking on the leadership role in the Corinthos family empire was not something he wanted. Jason understood the risks and dangers of this business. He had spent most of his life fighting for the Corinthos family, protecting those he loved, but now, Jason's priorities had shifted. To him, the safety of himself and his children was the most important thing. Jason didn't want to risk everything for a life he had once accepted, because now, he had a small family to protect. Sonny, though disappointed, understood and respected Jason's decision. He realized that Jason wasn't refusing out of irresponsibility or lack of love for the family but because Jason had chosen a different path, a quieter one, far from the chaos and dangers that had surrounded him for so many years. Jason still kept his promise to always be there for Sonny and Michael. He was ready to act whenever they needed, as a protector standing in the shadows, with no ambition for power or fame. Even without taking the leadership role, Jason remained an indispensable part of the Corinthos family, someone Sonny and Michael could always rely on. But his decision highlighted that, sometimes, loyalty does not have to be tied to bearing great responsibility, it's simply being there when needed, with all one's heart and dedication. Finally, Michael was entering a tense phase, where personal and family conflicts overlapped, making it impossible for him to find peace. After efforts to maintain his marriage with Willow, things now seemed to be at an impasse. They were growing further apart, and Michael realized that holding on only made things more strained. With a firm decision, he began working with Diane to prepare for a divorce. Michael not only wanted to resolve everything legally but also wanted to shift the situation to secure his own interests. He knew that Willow, despite loving him, had changed after recent events, and their relationship was no longer the same. However, Michael didn't want to be the loser in this story. He hoped that with Diane's support, every term of the divorce would be handled in his favor, especially concerning custody and financial issues. However, the divorce wasn't the only thing occupying Michael's mind. He couldn't ignore the tensions simmering with Drew. Betrayal, whether small or large, made Michael feel cornered. Though Drew had once been an important ally, their relationship now was full of suspicion and confrontation. With anger in his heart, Michael couldn't stop thinking about revenge. He wanted to make sure Drew understood the consequences of hurting him, both personally and professionally. Michael quietly planned, step by step, with careful calculation. He wasn't the type to act impulsively, and that made him more dangerous in tense situations. He utilized every available resource to turn the situation around. Though he appeared calm on the outside, inside, Michael was a decisive man, unafraid to protect his own interests. Looking to the future, Michael knew he had to face significant challenges. The divorce from Willow and his confrontation with Drew weren't just legal or personal battles, they were tests of his strength and ability to control the situation. Michael believed that if he played his cards right, he would not only overcome these challenges but also seize the opportunity to reshape his life as he wished.